Ever wondered what the deadliest bomb in the world could be? Or even whether it exists? Here's your answer. Chapter 1. The Ultimate Weapon Hunt. The US Air Force is pushing even with a huge arsenal already in service, seeking out weapons so deadly that older models become child toys. And the United States, known to be on the cutting edge with the most advanced technology, has demonstrated that cutting edge time and again. At this point, it is allegedly investing billions of dollars in a project meant to be the most distinctive among all, the so-called Dragon Bomb. Whatever is so special about this thing that it is the deadliest bomb ever constructed? And has Rapid Dragon been ever in a real war? Stay with us, as we are about to deconstruct the Rapid Dragon Bomb that is being tested by the US Air Force. Yes, the weapon that is already being referred to as the deadliest has already been developed, and Rapid Dragon is the system that is at the center of it. Chapter 2. What is Rapid Dragon? Rapid Dragon is a palletized, single-use weapons module that is airdropped to launch flying munitions, typically cruise missiles of standard, unmodernized cargo aircraft. It was designed in the year 2020 to 2021 by a joint team of the US Air Force and industry experts. The Rapid Dragon by Lockheed Martin is essentially a compression of a complete strike package to a disposable pallet. It implies that a typical military cargo plane will be able to turn into a standoff bomber at a switch of a button and revert instantly to carrying people and supplies. Their air-dropped rigged pallets, also known as deployment boxes, represent a low-cost method to allow any unmodified transports such as the C-130 or C-17 to temporarily act as launch platforms. They are capable of launching AGM-158 cruise missiles in long or shorter range in large numbers to attack on land or sea targets. A loadout may contain between 4 and 45 AGM-158B JASSM depending on the size of the box. And these missiles are capable of hitting from about 570 to 1,200 miles. Even longer-range JASSM variants will further extend that envelope even by 2024. Chapter 3. The Olden Time of the Dragon Bomb. The Dragon Bomb brand is founded on an ancient Chinese weapon, the Zhuge Nu, a design that launched numerous long-range crossbow bolts with a single firing in a safer standoff position. Similarly, the current Rapid Dragon design has been constructed to overwhelm the defenses of a target at a distance such that the launching aircraft will not have to be within danger. And the true power play is its speed of fielding. It is compatible with current transport fleets, enabling mass strike capacity at a relatively low cost and requiring little extra training. That is, it would provide the US with a means of quickly providing strategic striking capability to the partner forces that are already familiar with how to airdrop cargo and supplies. It also expands the range over which cruise missile carriers can practically operate, and thus makes it much more difficult to get an enemy to resolve the strike fleet simply by knocking out the known air bases. The concrete runway of a B-52 Stratofortress is about 10,000 feet long. A C-130, however, is capable of operating on about 3,000 feet of less developed surfaces that are more rugged. Chapter 4. Growing the Strike Force. And it's not only a boost for the US Air Force. The Rapid Dragon concept would allow Allied air forces, those that do not own strategic bombers but do own transport aircraft, to launch large JASSM salvos on day one. As an example, a C-130 would be able to launch approximately 12 cruise missiles using Rapid Dragon and remain 620 to 1,180 miles off target. It can be done with 2 Rapid Dragon pallets. Move to the larger C-17 and you can carry 5 pallets, each carrying 9 missiles, so that you have a full-up mission load of 45 weapons. And this is not mere theory. On a test flight on 16th December 2021, over the Gulf of Mexico, an armed Rapid Dragon package was targeted in mid-flight by a remote control center. It used that feed to program a JASSM. The pallet was airdropped and the system had its load released in an orderly manner, culminating in a live missile hitting a naval target. In that operation, the rest of the 3 cells of the 4-pack pallet had been loaded with ballast rounds of the same shape and weight, that is, to determine whether the system can sequence releases without interference. These useless ballast shots are no single ruse. They are supposed to remain in the playbook when the mission requires fewer weapons than the pallet can carry, to have the drop constant and predictable. Chapter 5. The System in Practice. The Rapid Dragon 4-pack was flown on an MC-130J piloted by an Air Force Special Operations Command operational crew in that test. The airdrop team saw it as an ordinary cargo release, whilst the onboard control unit of Rapid Dragon dealt with the intelligent aspect, independently taking command and control inputs and loading the JASSM with newer targeting information. This is not the first time we have witnessed this. Even the highest level air defense may be overwhelmed in the event of a high influx of cruise missiles. In the future, the U.S. Air Force plans to continue to increase the envelope of tests with the use of C-17, AGM-158 CLR-ASM, and AGM-158 DJASSM-XR is a 1,200-mile range missile that became available in limited stocks in 2000. 21. The Strategic Development Planning and Experimentation Group of the Air Force is also looking into less costly, shorter-range solutions such as JDAMER and is collaborating with Raytheon to allow Rapid Dragon to carry ADM-160 MALD decoys. Chapter 6. The Future of the Dragon. In the future, the AGM-158 family will not be the end of the plan. It is envisioned as the addition of JDAMs, sea mines, drones, and other types of missiles. The extrapolation of the concept of a launcher onto other supporting aircraft. Not only conventional cargo jets. The existing system operates with ordinary and unmodified cargo planes. There is no special talent involved in the release of the weapons other than that required by the crews to make regular airdrops of supplies or vehicles. Imagine it as a smart, disposable bomber. In a box, it has an interface built into it that can receive targeting data gathered by friendly units in the field and relay it to the munitions carried by a remote fire control station. Chapter 7. The 747 that almost was. And here the twist is, you see, launching cruise missiles with transport aircraft or even passenger-type airframes is not some new fanciful notion. In the 1970s, the U.S. Air Force had earnestly considered a concept of a missile carrier based on the Boeing 747-200. The proposed cruise missile carrier aircraft, or CMCA, would have carried about 50 to 100 AGM-80 6ALCMs into the fuselage in drum-type launchers. Squadrons of such missile trucks were to continue to patrol around the Soviet periphery in case of a large-scale attack. And the selling point was crude and simple cost. The prospect of putting the world's most recognizable airliner on the lowest level as base platform suggested a missile carrier that would be inexpensive to construct, inexpensive to operate, and difficult to overlook. The CMCA concept never made it off the drawing board. The most cited reason is that senior Pentagon officials, under the pressure of the larger defense industry, were concerned that an effective, cheap missile carrier would encourage Congress to cut the funding to the then-promising B-1B supersonic bomber. Nevertheless, the gist would not die. Chapter 8. History to the battlefield. Flash forward, and you can find the same reasoning being applied in actual warfare. In the year 1991 over Iraq, the U.S. troops employed transport aircrafts as improvisation bombers, shoving aside pallets of ammunition. Subsequently, in Afghanistan, heavy transports were employed to transport large GBU-43 BMOAB, and hereupon, the development carries directly to Rapid Dragon. Operationally, it's treated like standard cargo. The pallet is loaded in the aircraft as any other load. In flight, it's pushed out the open rear ramp using a small extraction chute which drags it along roller tracks and out into the airstream. The parachute then bursts its opening, the pallet balances on the suspension lines, and the weapons start to open, one at a time. Chapter 9. The missile that makes it work. Currently, Rapid Dragon is developed with AGM-158 JASSM cruise missile. It is a subsonic stealth missile meant to enable the strike jets and fighters to strike targets defended at standoff ranges. The basic model featured a 1,000-pound penetrator high-explosive warhead with a range of about 230 miles. The ER version loads more fuel, and that one modification boosts the range of the missile to an average of 230 miles to an estimated 575 miles. Guidance is layered. It involves an inertial navigation system combined with GPS and is also dependent on an infrared seeker to recognize a target. In the Norway exercise, inputs to be targeted were relayed on the ground outside the aircraft view with a satellite connection. The lesson learned was obvious. It is possible to designate, maneuver, and even retarget the missile as the launch plane is still on the move. Chapter 10. The anti-ship and glide bomb options. And the US isn't stopping there. The second is the long-range AGM-158D JASSM-XR, basically an elongated and improved version of the JASSM-ER with a new wing structure. It has an estimated range of approximately 1,200 miles. Production started in late 2021, and it has been planned to increase to full rate production, which has commonly been described as about 5 missiles per month by the end of 2024. The second large branch of AGM-158 family changes to sea power. It is a variant of an anti-ship cruise missile designed to chase and strike ships at the open sea. In its longer range incarnation, it is sometimes characterized by an effective range of up to approximately 350 miles. It does not broadcast on active radar, but rather relies on passive sensing, an infrared imaging seeker, and a radar warning and detector. Therefore, it can locate a ship without making noise, and then coordinate with the other missiles to launch a coordinated salvo. The third direction the U.S. Air Force has considered is JASSM-ER, a glide bomb package that incorporates folding wings, control surfaces, and GPS-aided autopilot in the ordinary dumb bombs. Bolt the kit onto it, and upon release, you can hit targets as far away as about 50 miles to any degree of accuracy, depending upon the altitude of release. Chapter 11. Sea mines and decoys. It is the rapid dragon angle that makes it spicy. They are relatively inexpensive, and theoretically, they might be able to provide a precision area strike on dispersed targets such as troop concentrations at a safer standoff range. Where a single force would cause one to fall, a palletized system points to yet another thing altogether, a swarm of guided bombs approaching in unison. A fourth payload option under consideration is Quick Strike ER, basically a smart air-delivered sea mine constructed on a JDAM-type base. Imagine a standard high-explosive bomb with a glide and guidance system and just a Quick Strike digital non-contact fuse to allow it to act as a seabed mine once released. The concept is such that these glide mines can autonomously fly into a specified area of deployment and then sort out into predetermined positions, allowing aircraft to populate hostile waters at standoff ranges outside much air defense protection. And finally, there is a fifth weapon, ADM-160 MALD decoys. These tiny unmanned replicas are designed to confuse the air defenses of the enemy by simulating the radar images of actual aircrafts all the way to an F-35 and a B-52. More recent models such as the MALDJ enable electronic attacks, that is, they do not only mimic targets. They are also able to block radars at a longer distance and aid in saturating sensors before the actual strike package reaches it. Chapter 12. The numbers that change everything. In the presence of Rapid Dragon, a heavy airlifter will begin to resemble a standoff missile bomber even more. The crudest conclusion is savage. It increases the potential carriers of the US missiles successfully at night. The fallacy is to take 116 traditional bomber platforms, 58 B-52Hs and 58 B-1Bs, and multiply them by 7, the ability to put up 120 planes a day to get 116 aircraft. And price tag is the head-turning part. You are discussing an ability that would cost a few $1 million to put into the field, not tens of billions of dollars to develop in-house. Then there's basing. A B-52 requires long prepared pavement, about 10,000 feet of concrete, to be able to fly. A C-130 is capable of lift-off around 3,000 feet, even on less developed and rougher surfaces. Couple them together, and it becomes very difficult to an enemy to know where strike capability of US forces is based, as well as what cargo aircraft may be actually transporting. Chapter 13. The global impact. This is not merely an advantage of the US. It is a possible modernization route of NATO allies and other partner countries that do not have the traditional strategic bombers. An example is that JASSM and JASSM-ER is already operational in Australia, Poland and Finland, among others. Australia deploys approximately 30 transport aircrafts such as C-17, C-27 and C-130, which in theory could accommodate a Rapid Dragon-like pallet. Poland, on the other hand, maintains 5 Hercules. Should these airlifters be fitted with Rapid Dragon trays, then they are not transporting cargo any longer. They are becoming capable of striking big salvos of low observable cruise missiles at standoff. It is then that you are discussing strike reach in thousands of miles and a capability leap that large enough to transform regional deterrence and redefine the balance of power. The Dragon has landed. The Rapid Dragon is no bomb. It is the system which transforms regular cargo planes into flying missile batteries. It uses the outdated technology transport aircrafts that are decades old and makes them serve a new and scary purpose. And the worst of all, it's already been tested. It works, and it only continues to develop. That is all today. I would like to thank you who have watched the video till the end. Until the next video.